So here's the E-Revo transmission. Now, as you can see, I've already got some Acer Racing bearings installed. So, because I'm doing the maintenance, I picked up Acer Racing's gear fluid oil. Okay? Actually, it's not gear fluid oil, it's bearing oil. The trick to do this is you don't actually need to take the bearings out of anything, out of the hubs, out of the transmission, any of it. You don't need to do any of that, okay? As long as you have one of the sides open, take a little bit, squeeze it, and apply a thin coat to the top and let it sit there for a minute. Why? Because what it does is actually absorbs into the bearing. Once it absorbs, which usually takes a minute or two, add another drop around the entire bearing, okay? Once it stops filling up, like I've already done that with these, wipe off any excess, okay? And you're good to go. That's it. That's all you need to do. What I'm actually going to do is take a little bit of grease and just coat the inside of it. Okay? Both sides. Just a little bit. You don't need much. Just enough to layer it. Okay? This will not affect the bearings. If anything, it's good for them. Okay, so we're going to slide this gear into place. Add a little bit in. Put the smaller gear. Now here's a little trick, okay? Add a little bit of grease around the center gear post, where the other plastic gear will sit. What it does actually takes up all that extra free play that might be sitting in it. So that way everything's nice and tight. Okay? It's almost like adding a spacer. So now that I've already got that in place, got all the gears in there, what I'm going to do is take some more grease. And I'm going to grease up every little bit of these gears in here. Why? Because it helps with friction. Camera's still working. And now we're going to work it. Now, like I said, after about the first run, all this gear, this grease in the gears will work itself thin. So it'll end up being perfect for it. Okay? So wipe off any extra. And go ahead and put your electric motor mounting bracket on. Okay. Transmission is done. Okay? Now comes the fun part. Taking the motor, I'm going to clean up here, taking the motor, tearing it apart, and replacing the bearings inside of it. Why is it a good idea to replace the bearings, Matt? Oh, because the bearings tend to seize over time or tend to not work 100%, so you get loss of power, the engine overheats, and you tend to blow it. Well, I picked up a bearing kit. Okay? What it has is 2 screws. I don't know why it has 2 screws when the whole thing is like 8 of them. Maybe I'll find that out here in a little bit. 2 screws and 2 bearings. One for the front side and one for the rear side. Now, I have not done this yet. I've never torn this apart, so this is going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me. So let's see what it says. Okay? Remove the 2x6 cc's and remove the end bell. Use a 1/4 punch and a plastic mallet to tap the bearing out of the end bell. Repeat the process for the bearing on the output shaft side of the motor. Discard old bearings. So, nice. Shaft just sits right in there with it. The got a little plastic retainer. And there is our bearings. And boy, are they dirty. Man. Alright, good thing I'm replacing those. Now, what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to set this up. Now it says you're going to need to punch out these bearings. Okay? So what I'm doing here, let's see if I can get something that'll fit in the pen. And let's just give it a shot. I know it says to use the tap and die, but hey, guess what? It's working. A little. Okay. So we're gonna try something here. Bear with me, guys. Alright guys, so I figured it out. Just needs a little bit of loving. I'm still using the pen. I'm still using just my little screwdriver here. A moment. And there we go. Just need a little extra loving, that's all. So there we go. Both bearings are out. Those are going to be trash. So now, let me put my seat back up again. Let's take these new bearings. They come in the wonderful kit. It's all nice and shiny and clean, and they work so well. Alright, let's see. Assembling. Assemble the rotor with 2 shims and a new bearing in the proper order. Now that's interesting. Mine does not have shims. And the bag didn't come with shims. You guys see this? Right there. Part number 3372. Supposedly 2 shims on the front side of the shaft. But there is none. Hey, you know what? This motor has never been torn apart. So, maybe this is a possibility of it not needing it. So what I'm going to do is just clean all this up. Okay? What I have to help me clean this up is some glass cleaner. So we're going to spray and wipe. Wipe, 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 wipe. Get right in where the bearing seats. Clean that all out. What they don't show in the picture is that the front side of the shaft actually has a spacer or a washer, a giant one. This, that actually sits on the front side of the shaft. That could be the newer or older spacer. I'm not really sure. This is an older model Revo. So that could be that spacer that they're talking about. But what I'm going to do, where is it? Insert bearing grease. What I'm going to do is actually put some right on the inside, and what this is going to do is actually not only help lubricate it, but it's also going to help seat it. Okay, now you want the bearing to be as straight as possible. We're going to tap it in. This is supposed to be waterproof, right? Am I wrong? No. Oops. Now there is a small little problem. Where the wires stick out, part of the rubber has actually torn away. So what I'm going to do after I get this screwed back in is I'm going to take some clear RTV silicone and I'm just going to go around the edge of it and just put a dab, just so water doesn't get in there. Okay. Now we're going to take our 2 new screws. Now there's only 2 screws for the back half. And we're going to put those in the back. Okay. That's the only thing I can figure out of why there's 2 and not a total of 6. Probably because you don't need to take the front end out. They expect the bearing to come out with the shaft. Camera's only got 6 minutes left on it, so I'm going to need to put that on the charger here real quick. But the motor's all back together. It spins, it works wonders. Now I'm just going to add another little drop into the bearings, just a drop. You don't need much, if any. Okay? Let that sit there for a second, and then we're going to take it. Any excess that comes out, we're just going to work it. Wipe off all the grease, the dirt, spin it again. And there we go. One smooth moving motor. And it looks pretty as well. So there you go. I'm going to put some RTV silicone on it. Just to waterproof it again, like I said. Where did I put it? Oh. Completed the transmission. We greased it up. Lubed everything up on it. So now, the next part is the shocks. Like my homemade little box. Yeah. That'll be on the next video. I'm gonna re-bleed the shocks on that one and put it all back together. So until then, see you guys.